The homeboy asked me one time, he said, how come we can't wake niggas up? Niggas in quotes, right? I knew what he was talking about, and I didn't have an answer for him at the time. And then after a while, it just hit me. You know what? It is your sovereign right as a person to be ignorant as hell. I'm talking about turn up till you burn up, homie. Pop bottles, pop Molly, shoot up the club, drink till you puke, man. If you a woman, just fit as many penises into all the orifices of your body. If you can get them to do it, hell, have a ball, have two, right? It is also your right to stick your penis in a light socket. It is your right to stick your breast in a blender. It is your right to put your head on some train tracks. It is your sovereign right as a person to fail as a human being. Can I ask a favor of you though? If you a nigga, get your nuts snipped. If you a bitch, get your tubes tied. Because only men and women should be out here reproducing. You're setting a bar too low for these kids. Your example is what they perceive as normal and is not jiving for what setting people up for success looks like. See, it is your right to destroy your life and your life alone. But you an example whether you want to be or not, man. I know so many dope boys and former dope boys who grew up just thinking that that was the thing to do. I mean, they sit up there with their dad and they moving packs of coke, taping up the chickens and taking them out to the street, and they moving them from here to here because that's what they thought men did. But here's how it works. Somewhere along the line, you're going to get a wake-up call. And it'll be private, and it'll be intimate, and it'll be all yours. It is a message just for you, but it will be a wake-up call. Why? Because the universe is a conscious thing. It's always talking, and it will use any means necessary to get the message across to you. From a homeless dude on a corner, to a freaking pastor at the church, to even, yes, social media. Divine messages can be sent to you, but the problem is your habits and your internal noise up here is too loud for you to hear sometimes. It's like this, man. What we perceive as niggas and niggerdom, it's just a behavioral spirit. It's just a behavioral pattern. It's a habit of behavior. And I'm all too familiar with that habit of behavior. I remember this incident when I was a young man where I was literally a passenger to my own bad behavior. I mean, I'm sitting there about to fight somebody in the middle of traffic on some road race shit, right? And I remember there was a part of my brain like, what are you doing? Don't you know what's about to happen to you if shit goes south? I was about to create consequences and repercussions that I was too wise to incur against myself. I knew it all too well, and yet I could not stop myself from doing it. I was too accustomed to giving in to the habit of anger. I was too accustomed to imagining violent scenarios in which I was going to do this time what I didn't do last time, right? The habit of behavior that is niggerdom was learned on the plantation where we kowtow before master and said, hey, y'all, how you doing there, boss? If I can help you out, you just let me know, right? Playing stupid than we actually are. But now we do a perverted version of that to ourselves. Where we out here trying to impress niggas about how much of a nigga we are when nobody's niggas at all. There's no such things as niggas. And yet here we are, trying to be something that we think will be acceptable because we don't want to stick out. We're too afraid to be different, to be oddball, right? The fact is that I thought I was laying some rap on cats that was just revolutionary, going to change their life. They already knew. And it dawned on me that you cannot wake up a people pretending to be asleep. The problem with the hood is not knowledge. It's behavior. It's habit. And it's the belief that somehow there's going to be a God that's going to come down and swoop down and save us from all of this. You know what? Don't lay your sins at the foot of a cross. Lay them at the foot of your children. Lay them at the foot of your babies. Pray to them for forgiveness for the sins that you're about to pass down into the seventh generation. That's who you need to be asking to absolve you of your sins. You know why, man? You've been taught that God is something invisible that you had to close your eyes to see. It ain't in a cross, but in the crib where you'll find divinity, man. I found out that it's not the war against the cops that brothers are afraid of. It's the war against themselves. You couldn't even join no revolution, homie. You ain't disciplined enough to put the weed down for long enough to get your cardio in shape. You ain't disciplined enough to put the drink down long enough. You ain't disciplined enough. You are not in command of your own behavior. You can't face yourself. But you know better than what you're doing. And there's a price for doing the things that we're doing. You know, you don't get to come from ancestors as mighty as we are, where we came from, and act like you can just play small in the shadow of giants, man. It wasn't fair. The things that propelled them to such great heights of achievement and moral fortitude and discipline, but yet and still they told the line, because that's what it takes to make it in America. That's what it takes to fight back white supremacy. I'm trying to stop my folks from throwing a party on a train track because I know what's coming down the pike, and it ain't fair. But you knew who else? You know who else knew what was coming down the pike? Harriet Tubman. Harriet knew. She knew what was to befall these slaves if she couldn't get them to get off the plantation. And Harriet also knew that it was their sovereign right to die if she couldn't get them to come. To my conscious folks who's trying to spread knowledge and information out this community, don't despair. Let it go. It is not your job to save everybody. It's just your job to shine the light. Whether they turn around and come with you is on them. I wish it was different, but it is what it is. Till next time, I'm Theo E.J. Wilson. Peace.